Criminal justice, healing, education. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever or however you are watching. You guys should know me by now, but if you don't, my name is Holly Cisa. I am the lovely host of this podcast, Morning Mimosas, where we value human life, justice, wellness, and wisdom for the Black and minority communities. Guys, today's episode is going to be one of everything we just talked about: resilience, equity, and justice. And I'm super duper excited to be interviewing the Mallorys today. Usually I do a commercial at the beginning of the episode, but I just want to get into the meat and potatoes of the episode today. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to welcome them the morning mimosas way, which is the most proper way we can, which is this way. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mallorys from Freedom Acres Ranch. Miss Nicole and Mr. CW, please introduce yourselves.
Hey everybody, my name is CW with Freedom Acres Ranch. We're located out here in eastern El Paso County, Yoder, Colorado.
Yes, and I am Nicole Mallory here, and we are here at Freedom Acres Ranch this morning, and we're located out in Yoder, Colorado. And we have cattle, pigs, horses, goats, lambs, chickens, turkeys. So if you hear some chirping, don't be alarmed. We are, we have a lot of chicks in the incubator right now and ducks running around. So, if you see a chicken running around, no alarm, no alarm.
Awesome. Once again, thank you guys for being on the show today. You guys have gone through so much since you guys bought that piece of land in El Paso County, Colorado. And I just want you guys to talk about your experience when you guys had come here from escaping Hurricane Harvey, if I'm correct, and then purchasing that land in El Paso County. Can you guys tell us a little bit about how that became your legacy now?
Yes. So CW is originally from Texas by way of Louisiana, and I'm from Indiana. I had never experienced a hurricane before in life, and so they said, "Don't worry about it. You're on the dirty side. It's just going to be a little rain," and that turned into flooding. The highway was underwater. Houses were underwater. The streets were underwater. Um, we were on roofs, on boats, people had to be rescued. But the biggest thing that I think we took out of that was food access. And depending on what side of the tracks you're on, there we were separated by like a bridge in some way. So on the other side of the bridge, it seemed as if food was actually getting there in an efficient manner. But then on the side of the bridge where we were located on, there was a lot of rationing of food, if you will, and lines, and it was just really, it was sad. We had a garden there, and we were growing some things. Our neighbor Doug, we kind of traded with them over the fence. They had some squash and zucchini. We had a lot of tomatoes and fruits and other vegetables, and so we did that for a time, to be able to have food. But during that time, I think we had gotten really serious. CW is love farming and ranching, all of his life. And he had been trying to convince me, like, let's get out of the city and let's go to the country. He took me to a property that had a alligator pond. And I was like, oh no, CW, I mean, alligators weren't part of the plan. And so when this happened, we started really having serious conversations with ourselves and our family about getting some land. And so we ended up in an RV driving around, and we landed in Colorado. We thought we'd be in California or somewhere warmer, but the mountains kind of called us. And we like to say this place chose us to some degree. But that's how we ended up here in Colorado.
Okay. So one of my questions is going to be specified around the land sovereignty. So, Ms. Nicole, you noted before that the core conflict began because you guys had the audacity to buy too much land. When you first moved on to the 1,000 acres to escape the aftermath, how did you did you realize that simply establishing a Black veteran-owned argue footprint would be viewed as a systematic threat by the local community?
No, I think I could have never imagined it. I came into this really, I say all the time, eyes wide shut. We're surrounded by three different military bases, and I've never really lived in the country in this way. You know, I went to visit my family in the country, but I thought we wouldn't see anybody. You know, this is a very large parcel of land. I thought we would not see anyone. I thought we wouldn't interact with anyone. But I think the difference in our presence is that everyone was curious and wanted to know who these who these Black people are that came into what I think they believed is their community, um, and why we were here. When we got here, there was a lot of people were stealing resources. They were dumping trash. We caught people on the land stealing water. They had their animals grazing. They were hunting. So immediately we set boundaries, just like you would do in the city. You know, if you buy a place and you know you have people that something set, and maybe they were squatting or just coming and going, you kind of set boundaries. And we weren't nasty about it. We were very pleasant. Um, when they would ask, like, who are you? We'd say, we're the owners here. Some people acted as if they owned it, which was, you know, you can't own it, and we just bought it. But a lot of people try to, you know, create scuttlebutt and rumors that we're squatters and just defame us and our character. Um, we're not squatters. We definitely came here legally. You know, we're not illegal in the country. We're not any of that. We're honorable United States Marine Corps veterans who served this country, who fought for these same rights that we're entitled to. And so I think a lot of the issues came not only with the community, but I think with the sheriff as well, of trying to categorize us. Oh, they came from Texas, they're drug dealers. Where do these Black people come from? And I think a lot of it started with, unfortunately, law enforcement, you know, feeding into a lot of these rumors and narratives because they live in the community. Um, and it's unfortunate that two Black people or whatever can't come and buy land wherever they want to, and they have to be terrorized in this way. Um, I think a large part of a lot of things come because I just refuse to be very silent about the atrocities and the things that are happening and that began happening to us that just didn't make sense. Like I said, I didn't expect to see anyone. And so to have people kind of creeping up on you, to have them on your property when you come on, you know, stealing water with their animals and their dogs and, you know, hunting. Um, you know, it's strange to me because you know, we come from the city and I'm used to boundaries. You know, no one just jumps your fence and comes onto your place for whatever reason um, in that way. And so a lot of it just seems as if it's just a tale of two cities, if you will, where there are just two justice systems. There's one for the community members and the police, and then there's a different one for us, even out here in rural America as Black people, despite the fact that if you look at the statistics, Black people aren't in these rural areas, not in Yoder committing crimes. I live
Right.
down the street from a sex offender, but they're not at the sex offender's door. He's also a murderer, right? But he's Caucasian, right? He's offended five
Yeah.
times over. So why aren't you on his door? But for whatever reason, you're so obsessed with two Black people that escaped a hurricane and thought we were leaving one storm, and now we're just embroiled in another, which the sheriff is the head of.
Whew. Um, First and foremost, I am so sorry for everything that you guys have been through. You guys definitely have not deserved the way you guys have been treated by the community and by law enforcement and the government. It's been absolutely disgusting. I am going to switch gears to the second topic, which is managing the herd under siege. Ranching on its own is a exhausting full-time commitment. How do you physically and mentally balance the demands of rotating cattle, maintaining 100% grass-fed operation, and dealing with sustainable land management while simultaneously enduring consistent surveillance, doxing, and property damage? I know that's a lot, so take your time.
Uh, no sleep. That's a real honest answer right there for you. No sleep. Up late, up early. Just being very vigilant of my surroundings and just constantly on the move. I mean, I gotta operate as if I'm in pretty much. It's almost like a war zone. Pretty much gotta operate like I'm in a war zone and just use the extra hand when I get them to be vigilant with me so I could move my animals around more. Um, yeah, I'm staying up till like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and back door waking up at like 5:45, 6, and just sun up to sundown. It's a nonstop process. Really just being vigilant.
Yeah. In terms of the operation, it's just being farming is hard. Like I, I fell in love with a farmer, which is how I got here. Between that and the hurricane, and I'm passionate about what we do. I love being in control of where our food comes from, being self-sustainable, and bringing kids from the concrete out to the country, especially minority kids, so they too can see it being represented with people that look like them. It's important. We brought over 15,000 children and visitors to this ranch, despite the hate. What I will say to them or about that is really um, everything that they wanted to make for hate. God has turned around and He's made it for good. And He's allowed them to be our footstool to watch in real time. And they think that they're hurting us, but in essence, to some degree, I think we've used it as a tool to get better in some things. Okay, we got to spend more money on security. We're learning about how to secure our property. Okay, you're jamming our Wi-Fi signals. Okay, we just got to spend more money, get more involved with trying to have more enhanced systems. So the things that they're doing to destroy farmers is sad because I know they eat every day because they're very healthy individuals that live in these communities. It's just sad that they can't use their time for more positive things instead of just using it to spew hate and negativity. Um, but we believe that the universe is always going to balance itself. And so we don't have to go out there and spew hate and get in the mud and roll around with them like pigs. They're on their own. And so it's taught me a lot of patience. I'm very much a fighter. I have a big mouth. I don't like being treated unfairly or injustice. And it doesn't make sense to me in 2026. Um, how the sheriff and is working with the community, telling us we can't use this end of our property, trying to make us allow violent criminals to come through our property. We're going to stand our ground and we're not going to allow people on our property or help make things easier for them in any way when they're trying to destroy what we're doing to help our community. Um, we're not gonna do it. We just have had to get, I guess, like CW said, we're in war zone. We're in a war zone, and so we've just had to get smarter about the things that we do. It takes a lot more time for us to do a lot of the things. We can't do anything in the city. Anywhere we stop, there's one gas station, there's one bank. We were stalked at the bank here, the one local bank in town, by individuals who work there. They took pictures of us. They took pictures of our children, of our nieces. They couldn't bank there. So now it takes us 3 hours to go to a bank now. We can't stop anywhere in town without being followed or surveilled. So we don't use the local gas station. And we've asked all of our visitors not to use any of the places in town, because if we can't use them uninhibited, then we're not going to continue putting commerce into the city. Because the truth of the matter is, we've had about 25,000 people total, and a lot of people stop at the small little that gas station in those places. But we've told all of our visitors and volunteers, don't stop there. We've given them a list of safe places to stop, because if you don't want to treat us fairly, or just don't say anything to us. You don't have to see us. Our property is so huge, that if you come by here, you are intentionally coming here to do something nefarious. You don't have to pass Freedom Acres Ranch at all. It's like in the city where you say we own the block. You don't have to come down our block. You don't have to see us. You don't have to jam our cameras. You don't have to take your entire day to watch us with binoculars. I hope you enjoy it though, but everything here is done in love. And we've just been pleading for peace. But we're not going to continue to be terrorized by organizations, the police, the bank, and all of these people who have a duty to serve and protect.
I completely agree with you. Yeah, the sheriffs down there, they have definitely failed you guys in many capacities. And that actually leads me to my next question, which is centered around a sheriff's problem, not a neighbor problem. You have been extremely candid about the fact that this isn't a dispute with your neighbors, but a deep issue with law enforcement accountability or lack thereof. When you are forced to make dozens of calls for help regarding poison, livestock, or property destruction, and the system responds by criminalizing you with false charges that are later dropped, how do you keep the strength to keep standing your ground?
Hmm.
Prayer and community are the two things that we lean on. Like I say, what they think they're doing in hate is really getting more love and community to call us and to wrap their arms around us and to have that hedge of protection. Those eyes on us is what I think is the only reason that we are alive, is because they know they're being watched. If the sheriff and had it their way, I think they would have killed us a long time ago. But because the community has stepped up in a way where now we can do things in real time. This is not new. Land theft, all of these things where you slave patrols. This is not a new thing. But today we have the capability to make sure things can be in real time. So in real time, we can pull out our cell phones and other devices so people can be exposed, the sheriffs can be exposed in real time. We had a film crew out here when we were filming the Jordan Peele documentary in real time. The sheriff is caught on camera doing what they do every day, harassing us, stalking us, trying to control us on our land, trying to intimidate us not to use our land. We have called the police, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I don't know, maybe 500 times, and we're going to keep calling the police because it is their job.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the steps we got to take, and that's what we have to do. I mean, we'll probably go to jail regardless of the outcome, but it has to be put on record that we we called over 500 times out here the sheriff's department. Know what I'm saying? Because it's over 500 times that we've had to deal with incidents. We not just that's the incidents. We ain't talking about the phone calls.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? That's just the incidents.
Or
We
Facebook,
or that's
because that would be 1,000 more calls.
right. So I mean, our tolerance is, I believe, is very justified, but we just keep getting manhandled, man, and it's just really not. It's my wife is putting it she's putting it very clear and well spoken. You know, I'm full of a whole lot of stuff at the moment. You know what I mean? And she's giving it to you very clear right now. I believe. I'm just full of anger and confusion and just I'm just tired. I'm just really just tired.
Yeah, it is. I think that would be a great way to put it. Tired, traumatic, the trauma that this has caused, not only on us, but on our family structure. Um, you know, our families come out here because they believe this is a safe place to be. And we've had to send several of our family members back to the city because we just don't feel as if we could protect them. My nephew came out here to live here because he wanted to, have a different life, and he didn't want to, get harmed in the city. But now I have to worry about um, people following him. He can't use the local bank, so that means he has to drive farther out. And he's just a kid. He's 17 years old, and he just looks at the land as something beautiful, and the animals is just a beautiful thing that he's never experienced. But we're not worried about the four-legged creatures. We're worried about the two-legged monsters and terrorists that he has to deal with. And it's just in a way where it's hard to explain. When we drive down the street and they're calling, us monkeys and bitches and N-word and doing all of that and pulling guns. How do you tell a 17-year-old? They're a different generation, and how do you explain that to
Yes.
them that you just have to sit back and take that? That's not something that I've ever been comfortable with, and it's not something I can even explain to children like that's acceptable, because it's not. And then they see the police come out, and the police do nothing, but try to
Yeah.
criminalize us because we're asking them to do their job. It's a hard, it's something hard to balance. It's a hard thing to balance, and it's traumatic, because they're children, but they see that. They see online, they see that. There are several of these stalkers that stalk my nieces and nephews in college. They're all the way on the East Coast, DC, and all of this. So that's sick, and it's sad for old men and women to be stalking and harassing children all the way, 8 states over. In the same way that they likely have harassed and stalked you. You know what I mean? Um,
So we
it's,
gotta tolerate. We gotta tolerate all that stuff.
yeah,
We
sad.
gotta tolerate all that stuff. But if we were white, you know what I mean? If we were white, you know what I mean? It would be some kind of sexual innuendo. But we gotta tolerate, you know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Them looking at our kids, saying things about their body parts and all this stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because we're black. But if we were white, you know what I'm saying? It would be addressed so fast and differently and be called something else. You know what I'm saying? But we the crazy ones. You know what I'm saying? Cause yeah, I done called the police 500 times on you sitting people out here.
And we'll keep calling them. So keep, hopefully they continue to keep score on the times that we call, because we will continue to call them. I meant, it's disgusting, and it is intentional. It is stalking. You have to intentionally go in, come to our website. Here recently, we received messages on our website using the N word and all of that. So that's currently being investigated now by someone higher up than the sheriff's department. We've had to go over their heads because they've shown us that they are unwilling to do their job. We're not asking for anything special. We're asking to be left alone.
That's
and to
it.
farm in peace. We're not out here bothering anybody. Like I said, we live down the street from a sex offender. Go sit at his door. You know what I mean? Go sit at his door. And a murderer. He killed a child. So go sit at his door and do these things and destroy him. But we're just living in a different time now where, not a different time, I think it's just more outright where individuals think they are entitled to be able
Mhm.
to continuously cause trauma and fear and intimidation to people of color, and particularly Black people is what we know because we are Black. And we're going to continue fighting the good fight. We'll continue getting into good trouble, going to jail, whatever we need to do. Um, but people will be held accountable. You know what I mean? Because had the sheriff been doing his job, violence out here wouldn't be escalating. We had a trail ride here and there were individuals who started shooting. We just was talking to somebody last week who had came to an event and they mentioned it and it just was so triggering that they had to think twice. They said they had to think twice about bringing their children back out here, but they decided that they were still going to bring them again. And they came back and they rode horses and they had a good time. But just having to have that conversation in 2026 where people think it's the sheriff thinks it's acceptable for people to shoot at children on a trail ride is disgusting. It's deplorable and it's dishonorable on the worst level. Um, these people are scum. That's the only thing. They're demons. Actually, let me back that up. They're demons. We're fighting a spiritual war, and we're going to keep
Absolutely.
God. We're going to continue to pray, and the universe will balance itself. It always does.
Absolutely. So thank you guys for talking to me today. This is going to be the last question. So despite the ongoing threats, you guys mentioned the gunshots that happened on your land. You guys have made it very clear that you guys are not packing up and leaving. You guys are standing your ground, just like we stated earlier. Looking forward, what is the ultimate legacy you are fighting to secure for the next generation of Black and veteran farmers who want to follow in your footsteps?
Don't run is the thing, and that access. We are allowed to live anywhere in this country. We are allowed to have access to food. We are allowed to visit farms. We are allowed to ride horses. We are allowed to chase goats. you know, we are allowed all those opportunities that any other person in rural areas are afforded. And we are not going anywhere. So they can continue on, whatever. Like I said, the universe will balance itself. We're not running from any racists. We are not packing up and going anywhere. Um, Everybody will be held accountable um, for the things that they do and the evil that they spew. Hate will not win. We do everything in love, and we will continue pressing and pushing forward to push light to drown out any darkness that people think that they can do. We just had an event. We had probably 500 people here on the ranch. So that tells me that my community loves what we're doing, and we're going to continue to do that. Um, we'll continue to have security here present. To date, no one at Freedom Acres Ranch has been harmed or hurt. All of these things that are being done are a result of the sheriff's office. All of this, if something happens to us, it falls on the sheriff's office because of his lack of action and his
Yep.
inaction to follow the rules and to apply them to everybody. We're going to tell people to continue to support Freedom Acres Ranch. www.freedomacresranch is where you can sign up to come horseback riding, to visit, to volunteer. We got a group of queens coming out next week of royalty here in the state of Colorado. If anything, all of the hate that they are spewing is just making people want to come and see Freedom Acres Ranch. So thank you to some degree. We probably couldn't pay for that kind of marketing. Um, thank you in that aspect. But on another note, farming right now is tough in Colorado due to drought, but we are still pressing forward with this season. We'll have fresh fruits and vegetables here available as well as meats. Um, support your local farmers. Come out to a ranch. Come out to, what do you have to say, baby? Just come out and visit us. Support us. Send kind words. You know, if you wake up and we're on your minds, shoot up a prayer for us. Send us kind words of affirmation. It makes all of the difference in what we're doing. Thank you to everybody who continues to support us. We are not going anywhere. This is not 1920. This is 2026, and we will not be run out by any racist police, any racists in any town. It's almost 200 of you, and you still haven't run us out. So maybe you should go on to doing something more positive, is what we're going to say. Lead with love. Um, we're going to continue praying for all of these demons who are trying to run us out, and hopefully they will become more positive. There's so many things you could be doing out here versus terrorizing two Black farmers here in Yoder, Colorado. But what do you have to say, baby?
I mean,
God bless them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Freedom Acres Ranch is here for everybody. It's an educational place. It's an informative place. You know, like I say, we're here for all our people, man. To end the to be that helping hand. Hunger shouldn't be something that we're all experiencing or going through. So, you know, I mean, I do understand that we're a ways out here, but if anybody is ever hungry or in need, please reach out to Freedom Acres Ranch. We're here to support, help in whatever capacity that we can. And like I say, it's an educational side to it. You know, we made some mistakes along this journey, and for us to not share with the next generation of farmers or ranchers that come behind us would be a disservice. You know what I'm saying? So it's on us to be informative and to pass on a lot of that knowledge. And maybe I don't know. Uh, maybe we can. I guess it's. I don't know to say it's a good thing. All the bad things that we went through. I don't know how to put it, but just to we can tell people what to be on the lookout for. You know what I mean, and what to keep your eyes open for, and just to be aware of, and just knowing your surroundings and what you're dealing with. Because like my wife said, I thought we was moving out to the middle. We weren't gonna see anybody, but it's just not been like that. And it has its days, and just for me today is not a good day probably for me, to discuss how good it is, because I'm just not feeling good, about you know, walking outside worrying about if somebody gonna take a shot at me. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm feeling, or just I don't know. I'm just annoyed with the system. You know what I'm saying? It just really just failed us, or just and it seems like that way all the time for Black people. You know what I'm saying? So my anger ain't just centered around me. It's more around how they treat us all as colors. You know what I'm saying? And just they play these games. You know what I'm saying? To where they pit us against each other. It's just this world ain't for us, man. It really ain't. It's really not. You know what I'm saying? I really, every day I walk around my property and I'm like, damn, I wish it was segregated and all I had to do was deal with black people every day and my people every day. You know what I'm saying? You know, what was it like? You know, I know for me growing up in an all black neighborhood and going to an all black school, you know what I'm saying? I felt love, you know what I'm saying? I felt love all around me and guidance all around me. Out here amongst just a bunch of different people, you feel lost, you know what I'm saying? And then to exist somewhere where you feel lost and have an authoritative system, you know what I'm saying, that's really just designed to try to catch you up and turn everything around on you every time, you know what I'm saying? It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's really just disgusting, man. It just gets
This is the
how
mental warfare.
we gotta tolerate so much and just, you know, just put it in the backpack and keep on packing. Just put it in the backpack and keep on, you know what I'm saying?
But they want us to feel that mental heaviness, and some days are tougher than others. As we see today is a tougher day for CW. But the reality is, our community just wrapping themselves around us. Sometimes it can feel isolating because that's what they want us to feel, isolated to the point that we will run and leave. But there's so much love and good work that we're doing here and good things. Um, when we see children conquer their fears and get on a horse and catch a goat, I mean, there's something about that. We're creating leaders. And so the work that we have to do and the time that we have to spend, it's okay. We had to run down to the Capitol. We had to spend a lot of time, but I think it sent a very clear message out to people because they continue to steal our cattle. Um, Now the system will be different. CW and Nicole can go down to get legislation passed. So people are watching. So do the right thing. Um, we always encourage our people to, if you see something wrong or you're dealing with something, try to get a law passed, try to change it, talk to your legislators, because there's so many other people going through that. The other thing is, it's time for us to run for office. It's time for us to, CW was thinking about running for sheriff. That may be a good thing, so
Absolutely.
if people understand they don't own these offices, the people do. And so when people are tired, we have to we have to start getting more active inside of these systems that they use for protection. We have to use those systems so that we can get positive change and have seats at the tables so that our voices are represented. We are the original Black cowboys. They don't own agriculture. We all do. And so the reality of the situation is trying to run us out has only made us stronger in some aspect. Like I say, some days are harder than others, but the reality is the good will always outweigh the bad. We will continue spreading love and light. Our mission is Farmers Save Lives. We are on a mission to make sure that people know that they have a choice in order to access fresh food. That we are here if you want some fresh eggs, if you want some fresh chicken, if you want fresh beef, from the pasture to your plate. We are here for you. We are here so that you don't have to worry about having a choice. We are here if you want to come and get away and stargaze or jump on a horse or just take a drive. We are here. And no one and nothing corrupt sheriff's department, terrorist neighbors, or anybody like that is going to take away this legacy. We are blazing a trail, and we may have to take the brunt of all of this heaviness, all of this injustice, and we will continue to crawl so that everyone else that comes behind us can walk and can run in a way that they won't have to deal with these issues. And we're going to continue to do that. So anybody who is meaning evil or bad for Freedom Acres Ranch, God bless you. We will continue to pray for you. Please don't bring that negative energy over here. Everything here is about love and light. So stay home if that's what you're doing. Black, white, whomever. If you don't mean good for Freedom Acres Ranch or you don't have good intentions, stay home and pray for yourself and try to figure out how you can become a better person, because you have to be miserable. Misery loves company, and everything over here is about joy and happiness and love and light. So we continue to pray for all of these people and all of these demons and terrorists who want to try to destroy what we're building. That's really all we have, and we just want to encourage everybody. If you see something wrong, fight and do what you need to do to get positive change. Um, it's hard, but it's harder when you sit back and you, like CW said, just keep putting it in your backpack. Um, this sheriff has caused a lot of the state as well, looking the other way on some things, has caused a lot of mental anguish and distress for us. And farmers shouldn't have to deal with that. It's a lot out here farming and ranching. Farmers have very high suicide rates. It's not healthy for us overall. And so we would just ask that everybody be kind and show kindness. Again, if you don't have any kindness or love or good intentions here for Freedom Acres Ranch or farmers in general, stay home and pray for yourself and get that misery out of you. There's nothing else that we can say. We're going to continue having our events. We're not going to be run out by any racists. We're going to continue fighting for positive change. We're going to continue pushing out love and light. And all of this, we've begun to find some good community people. They may not be in this state, but they are helping us, fight some of these things that are happening that are attacking the ranch. And so you will have your day, and that's the thing. The universe will balance itself, and we just would ask that you can, you try to be a positive person, be a good person. That's all we have, because we don't have time for none of that. This is a busy lifestyle, and we don't have time for that. We don't. We're dealing with severe drought in Colorado, and that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot on ranchers. That's a lot on farmers. Fellow farmers have lost their crop due to freezing. It's so many things you could put some positivity into, volunteering and visiting local farms and putting out kind words and being kind. So everybody who wants to spew hate, please try to get help. Try to get help for yourself. But we're going to continue with our Concrete to Country program, bringing young kids from the inner city out to the ranch to experience this, to ride around on a horse, to stargaze and see the Milky Way at night. We have a big telescope out here, to sit and see the mountains, to chase a goat, to chase a pig, to find out that a chicken doesn't come off the truck, but it actually comes from a chicken. We've had kids walk around with eggs and all, like, wow. Yes. And so, like CW said, we're here for education. We are here for food access. We are here to save lives. That's what we're doing. And we're not going to be derailed off of that mission. The universe will balance itself.
Absolutely. Miss Nicole, Mr. CW, the Mallories, thank you so, so much for being on Morning Mimosas today. And just like I've been telling you guys, even before you guys came on the show, you guys have an ally in me and in many, many others. So we will continue to support you, and we'll continue to make sure that you guys get the justice that you guys truly deserve. So thank you again for coming on here and telling your story. I am so grateful to you, both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, I'm going to put their info in the comments, either whether you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. I will make sure to post their information for you guys to contact them. Those that are wanting to contact them on a positive note, I should say. Not all the BS that's been going on with them that they do not deserve. But I am just so happy that this couple is a true representation of resilience, perseverance, and equity. Thank you guys again. Guys, this is Morning Mimosas, you guys, as we value justice, wisdom, and wellness for the Black and minority communities. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.